Today, we are going to go on a mathematical treasure hunt. We're going to solve a sixth degree polynomial. And I know that sounds intense, but I promise you, the journey from this incredibly complex problem to its stunningly simple solution is something you won't want to miss. So let's dive right in.
Okay, here it is. This is our target, a sixth degree polynomial that, let's be honest, looks like an absolute mathematical monster. Your first reaction is probably, where would you even begin with that? It looks impossible, right? But what if I told you there's a secret code, a key, buried inside all those huge numbers that makes the whole thing just collapse? So here's our game plan. We'll start by facing the monster head on. Then we'll find its secret code. We'll go on a step-by-step hunt for clues, reveal a really surprising pattern, and use that to crack the final equation, which will lead us right to the simple solution. First up, the mathematical monster. Let's just take a moment to really appreciate how complicated this thing looks from the outside. Okay, so how do we actually find the key to this thing? How do we find that secret code?
Well, we're not going to try and solve this with brute force. No way. We're going to be detectives. We're going to calculate a special set of values that we'll call the C sub k coefficients. You can think of them like a secret code, or maybe the combination to a safe. Our job is to find each one, from C0 all the way to C6. Once we have them all, we can unlock a much, much simpler version of our problem.
All right, let's get into it. Time for the step-by-step hunt. Let's start finding those k sub k values one by one.
Okay, first up, the calculation for C0, and the result is 0. Interesting. Okay, what about C1? That's also 0. Let's check C2. 0 again. There's definitely a pattern forming here. Does it keep going for C3? You bet. Another big fat 0. So at this point, you gotta wonder, right? Is every single one of these coefficients just gonna be 0? And if they are, how does that even help us? It almost feels like we're on a trail to nowhere. But, in mathematics, a strong pattern, even a pattern of nothing, is usually a huge clue. And this is where our investigation takes a very interesting turn. Just when we thought we knew what was coming next, the pattern breaks. And bam, 114. After that long trail of zeros, we run the calculation for C4, and suddenly we get a real non-zero number. This isn't a dead end at all. This is it. This is the breakthrough. This is the clue we've been hunting for. So let's look at the whole picture. After that big result for C4, the last two coefficients, C5 and C6, they go right back to being 0. So it's crystal clear now, isn't it? The most important piece of information in this entire puzzle is this single, lonely, non-zero value. This one outlier is the absolute key to everything. Now for the fun part, cracking the final equation. Let's take our key and see how it completely transforms this problem. And here it is. This is the big payoff. That whole detective story, finding all those C values, allowed us to rewrite that monster polynomial into this. Look how simple it is. All those giant numbers just collapse down to x to the fourth times the quantity x squared minus x minus 2 equals 0. We've turned this monster into something we can actually solve with pretty basic algebra. It's just fantastic. Okay, the hard part is officially over. We've cracked the code. Now we just need to find the simple solution. The logic here is really straightforward. If you've got two things multiplied together and the answer is 0, well then one of those things has to be 0. It's the only way. So that means either the x to the fourth part is 0, or that little quadratic part, x squared minus x minus 2, is 0. We just have to solve those two tiny problems separately. And when we solve those, we get our final answers. The roots, the solutions to that enormous, terrifying polynomial we started with are just 0, 2, and negative 1. That's it. We solved the mystery. And the answer was hiding there in plain sight the whole time, just waiting for the right method to uncover it. This whole journey really captures this quote from S. Scudder perfectly. The essence of mathematics is not to make simple things complicated, but to make complicated things simple. We took something that looked impossibly messy, and by using a clever method, we found the simple truth right at its heart. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? It's a powerful reminder that so many complex problems out there, not just in math, but in science or even in life, might just have a simple core waiting to be found, if we only know how to look for that